Hi everyone, welcome to Vinland Saga, although this is not a reaction because I lost my file so I couldn't save it, which is ironic because this episode is called For the Love That Was Lost, so here we are. But I wanted to at least talk about the episode, give a review. I thought Olmar was gonna breathe and walk away, but he didn't, and what ensued next was really crazy. Canute wanted to start a riot and to arrest Cradle and his sons. He just didn't realize that Cradle had the other son, who is a Thane and is absolutely a monster and is wild. So that part where he just starts going crazy and killing everybody, I was not sure what was going to happen and how they would escape. But lo and behold, Leif Erikson, who has the Thorfinn lookalike, comes through and takes them all on his ship. But what I found the most interesting was seeing Olmar. And Olmar was really contemplating everything that just happened. He had now taken a life. He heard his brother say, like, why did you guys go easy on him? And so a lot of thinking on his way back home. And I'm really happy because I thought Olmar would just be some stupid character, but I actually see him turning into someone that could be really awesome. And this is something I really love about Vinland Saga, is that everyone has potential to become a warrior, a true warrior. Everybody in this world, even in the real world. It's just about finding your self-awareness. I've just watched episode 14, so I talked about this same thing, but you have to hit rock bottom to be like self-aware sometimes. Like you can't see what you're doing. A lot of us are wearing blinders. We think we know it all. We think we're the shit. And then all of a sudden, these things happen one after the other, or it might be one big event, and that knocks you on your butt, and you're like, okay, whoa, dang, okay, I'm still here. Okay, I got all my limbs still. Okay, I'm alive. All right, I'm still here, but damn, that was pretty scary. That happens sometimes once to somebody, and that's all it needs to be, where people start to like really think about what they need to do. And then there's people probably like me who multiple things need to happen to finally wake up. And then you get to Olmar, where he's finally like awake and he sees what's going on, and he's like, I think he's like, I just don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want to be a target. First of all, the joke, the butt of the joke, as annoying as he is, he just was not aware of it. It just happens. I don't know why, but it happens to a lot of us. When you meet obnoxious people, it's just because they really genuinely can't see it. And when they do start to see it, habits are hard to change. So it takes time to kind of like become like a better person, you know. Olmar is gonna have something really important to do, so I'm very excited to see what happens with that. And then obviously the reunion with Leif and Thorfinn. So season 1 episode 18 blew me away. The first time I watched it, which you guys can go find our reaction, Abby and I's reaction to that on the channel, it was one of those episodes where at the time I'd been raised Christian and was like very staunchly in that belief system, even though I was not as strict as I used to be at that point, but I was still like, this is the way, this is the truth. And if you believe that, that's your prerogative. You get to believe whatever you want to believe. That's the freedom of the mind. We get to believe what we want. I was like shook, I guess, by what the priest was saying. And it was talking about love. And that episode was the episode that really like I got like the gut punch, like poof, poof, like I was hit a few times. Whoa. Oh my goodness. What kind wow. But I remember that episode really like shaking me to my core, and I listened to that priest talking to Canute. Canute had to grow up in that episode. He had to he saw Ragnar in his dream, and he had to say goodbye to him and finally like come to terms with everything. His beliefs, maybe they're not what he believes anymore. Because at that point, everything he thought he knew was true just came crashing down. He lost the love of his life, which was Ragnar, his real true father. He didn't know who he was at that time because Ragnar coddled him so much, babied him, that he couldn't really make his own choices for a long time. And then he lived with a lot of fear. And at this point in the story, he has to spread his wings. And so he finally has like this metamorphosis, and he grows. And we get that whole speech on what love is. And because I think it was the priest was saying Ragnar was biased. He had discrimination. That love was not real, because how could he have true love? But we were, in episode 14, that whole village was killed and no one did anything. Ragnar didn't do anything. Everyone stayed quiet. Even the priest. The priest tried. The priest tried to warn them, and they beat him. And so that was a wake-up call for Canute, because Canute was like, oh, dang, like that's true. You're right about that. So he's like, so then what is true love? And then the priest points to a dead soldier on the ground, and he says, that's love, because he's now going to give back to the earth, and from his body, animals will be able to be fed. There will be new growth, new life, new flowers will bloom and blossom. Like Humbles, that was an episode where my ears were open. I was listening really hard. And then there's like when Canute starts to get it, he's like, where are all the sane people in this world? He's like, they're all the same. They don't have the love in their hearts. And even the priest's eyes like widen a bit. They don't know the meaning of life, the meaning of death, or even the meaning of their fighting, which is interesting because in the previous episode where we see Ashclad in, I guess, Valhalla, there we see everyone just fighting and fighting and fighting, and they're just lost. They don't even know why they're fighting. They don't know who they're killing, but they're just doing it. And Canute has this realization in episode 18, season 1. Is our only option in life to be tested and to endure? This is like Canute like really waking up, and he's like talking to God. By your trials, this man's soul cannot be saved. And this is when Canute reaches out and touches Bjorn on his face. Very gentle touch to someone who's having a freak out, who's literally on Amanita muscaria, having a berserker moment. And he holds his fist and he hugs him. I think it's season 1, episode 4, The True Warrior, where Thor's is confronted by the pirates and Ashclad, and him and Ashclad start talking. But he was saying that he is not a true warrior because he has not learned to master fighting without the sword.
The reason I rely on a weapon like this is because I'm weak. One who's a great warrior doesn't need a sword.
Do you want to become our leader, Thors?
When you put down the sword and you fight with love, that is when you become a true master. And in this episode, Canute, for a brief second, shows this true master within himself. He's able to stop Bjorn in berserker mode with love, with gentle touch, whereas when Thor's had to stop Bjorn, that is so interesting because Thor's is such a awesome, strong, very disciplined character, but he couldn't even do that. And Canute, who's just finally waking up to his like truth and to the truth of the world, he was able to do that. So when I see Canute now, when he's conversing with his father and doing these really shady things, I'm like, how did we get from here to there? So my only hope is that we can get Canute and Thorfinn back together, and Canute can see Thorfinn being changed, and then he can be like, wow, if Thorfinn can change and be loving and have this true love that he was trying to work towards, maybe I can change my ways too. I'm so sorry that episode 12 was lost, the reaction was lost, but I hope that this was nice. And I could talk about one of my favorite episodes, which was fun to do. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later on. Bye, everybody.
We are stardust. We are gold.